Welcome to PWS United, a podcast for the Prader-Willi syndrome community, brought to you by PWSA USA. This podcast gives the latest news in research, advocacy, and family support by bringing together staff, volunteers, PWS treatment specialists, biotech and pharmaceutical representatives, caregivers, family members, and individuals with PWS. Our goal is to share education, awareness, and resources with those living with PWS and their supporters. Join us in our mission to enhance the quality of life and empower those affected by Prader-Willi syndrome.
Well, hi, Carrie. How are you doing?
Hi, Annie. I'm good. How are you today?
I'm good. I had, tomorrow is my youngest daughter's birthday, and we went on a road trip, just the two of us. And because, I go on all these trips with Freya to like doctor's appointments and things like that. So she and I had our own little trip, and we went down to a trampoline park. So that was very exciting.
That is so fun.
And we also learned how to play pickleball because we stayed at kind of a bougie hotel and they had a pickleball court. So we got up and went and played pickleball.
That's like an active weekend.
It was really fun. Yeah, it was like we played pickleball for like 45 minutes and then and that was the same day as the trampoline park. So I was like, okay, Rona, I'm gonna have to take a break. Like if you want me to jump with you at the trampoline park. But
Mom needs a little nap.
Yeah.
A little coffee.
So it was really nice to just have that time with just her and not have PWS there. But I will say I ate a lot of sugar. We ate a lot. I ate more food than I needed to, and a lot of it was sugar. I went on one of those virtual reality roller coaster games.
Oh, fun.
Oh, I mean, I've been on them before. They were fun, but after a couple of Krispy Kreme donuts, like I was dry heaving over the toilet afterwards.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
So
that's not a fun experience. Less fun.
And then it was fine. Okay. Anyway, so it was just, it was a nice reminder that we put so much focus and time because we have to, and that's okay, but we put so much into our loved ones with PWS that it's really important to try and find that time to hang out with the other kids and, do something without their sibling around. Right. So that's what I did. How about you?
Well, that sounds like an amazing weekend. I'm so glad that you guys got that mom-daughter time to yourselves. And my weekend was very uneventful compared to yours. I went to a 1-year-old birthday party and relaxed the rest of the time. So
well, you needed it. You've done a lot of traveling. I don't have much to
share. Yeah, I know, exactly. I think that we are so traveled out and feel a little burned out by like the social aspects of the traveling that we just wanted to sit. We watched a lot of movies this weekend, I will say.
Oh, nice.
And that was, wonderful. It was a great time. Wouldn't trade it for anything. So,
yeah. Well, good.
Not much though. I'm unfortunately a little boring. But what's not boring is all of the work that we're doing at PWSA. So my attempted transition there. So
fabulous.
With that being said, let's get into the Pulse edition 118, which was sent on Friday, March 7th. And as we've done a couple times now, we start by sharing some updates on our 2025 International PWS Conference. So we have, again, a few key details and reminders that we want to share. We have just about 100 days left until this conference in June, which is amazing and crazy. Many words. No, we're extremely thrilled to do this and to get together in person with everyone again. It is always such a joy. It's one of my honestly favorite parts of this job is to see these families connect in person. So I cannot wait for everyone to experience that again very soon. But to get into some of our reminders here. So again, partnering with the Foundation for Prader-Willi Research and the International Prader-Willi Syndrome Organization to host the 2025 International PWS Conference. It's taking place from June 24th to June 28th, 2025 at the Arizona Grand Resort and Spa in Phoenix, Arizona. And we will make sure to have the registration link in our show notes. So we are encouraging everyone to help us plan ahead by registering early. Early bird registration is available until March 31st. And then online registration will remain open until June 17th, 2025. That's the week before the conference starts. And then we actually are not going to be having walk-up registration available on site.
I just think that we should clarify for families because it does kind of come up occasionally that the family conference is June 27th and 28th. So when we say the conference is June 24th through the 28th, that is also the clinical and scientific and then the professional providers. But the family conference is June 27th, June 28th.
That
Just to
Friday,
clarify.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate that, Annie. We do, though, have an option for families to attend the clinical and scientific program days as observers. So if you do choose to come that, Wednesday, Thursday and want to participate in those sessions, everyone is more than welcome to do that. Just when you register, make sure you select that family program plus clinical and scientific program observer.
Hmm.
And yes, people are welcome to attend that as well, just as another addition to that. But majority of families, yes, will most likely just be attending the Friday and Saturday family program sessions. And we look forward to sharing a high-level schedule of that very soon, next week, actually. So be on the lookout. So in addition to registering early, we also, again, encourage people to book their stay early. As a reminder, the rooms at the Arizona Grand Resort and Spa are completely sold out on Thursday, June 26th. There are still rooms available for the remaining conference days there, though, but if the booking website shows no availability, we do encourage that you call the resort directly to receive help or to be placed on a wait list. Their number is 877-800-4888. And then we also have a conference hotel locator website specifically for our 2025 International PWS Conference attendees. And we'll have that link in the show note. That gives additional accommodations in the Phoenix area for you to stay at, especially on that Thursday. If you're not able to get a room at the Arizona Grand Resort and Spa, this website will help you find other places in the area that you can stay. But we also want to note on that point that if you stay off site, you will need to arrange transportation to and from the Arizona Grand Resort and Spa for the conference sessions. We also share what food is included with your conference registration. So there will be 2 snack breaks and lunch each day provided, but breakfast and dinner are on your own. However, for breakfast, we will have food trucks available. A lot of breakfast food trucks that are very cute. It's going to be yummy food and they're going to be very welcoming and have, great choices. But there's other restaurants on the property you can go and get breakfast at. And then for those staying in a villa, you'll have a full kitchen and there's nearby grocery stores as well if you prefer to purchase food when you get there and then make them in your room. And we do also have some dining options that we're going to be sharing in the show notes for restaurants on the property and then additional restaurant recommendations in the surrounding area. So if you have any questions or want to know more about the dining options that are available, we encourage you to go and click those and find that out. And then for campers, a quick update. Each day, campers will receive 2 snacks and lunch as well. And then parents will receive the menu once it's available ahead of time. And then a reminder that all PWS and sibling camps are completely sold out at this point. Our final thing we wanted to share in this section is that we know that Phoenix summers can be hot, and we are working on ways to help our attendees, especially loved ones with PWS, stay cool. So we'll be sharing a blog article very soon with details on what to expect, including our air-conditioned spaces that we'll be utilizing, cooling stations, and more. So don't miss this incredible opportunity to connect, learn, and celebrate coming together in person at the conference. One final reminder as well, we are still collecting photos for our PWS community mural that will be displayed at the conference, and we'll have a link in the show notes as well to submit photos for that mural. And we appreciate everyone in advance for helping us build that and make it a beautiful picture of all of our loved ones living with PWS. All right, moving on now to our PWSA memory for the week. This one was submitted by Jane Jeffrey, who is mom to Peter, and Peter is 34, living with PWS. And here was her submission. Peter was not definitely diagnosed with PWS until he was 3 years old in 1994. He was born on January 21st, 1991. Peter Larry, Jane's husband, and Jane visited the Cleveland Clinic where they finally got answers from an extremely dedicated specialist, Dr. Suzanne Cassidy. After blood workups, she diagnosed Peter with UPD. We were very proactive parents after Peter was born, enrolling him in St. Francis Children's Center for physical, occupational, and speech therapy at 6 weeks of age. I was a firm believer that he would benefit from early intervention. He was then referred to a PWS specialist at the UW Hospital and Clinics in Madison, Wisconsin, where Peter was included in a human growth hormone therapy program. That doctor was Aaron Carroll, MD, and Peter grew taller and he became leaner. Today, Peter is living in Madison, Wisconsin, where he is flourishing. Peter lives a life full of joy and loves animals. He is always the first to introduce himself to new people who become part of his life. Keep donating, learning, and sharing your own personal stories with the PWS tribe. But most importantly, never lose hope. We are all in this together and are all on the right track. Stay strong and educated because every day strides are being made for our PWS individuals. Thank you for your time, Jane Jeffrey. That was such a sweet one, Annie. I love that submission, and not only because I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. That's where my heart is. But what a beautiful depiction of his upbringing and the things that they did to help him early in life and how
Mhm.
he's grown and succeeded today. That's an amazing
Yeah.
read. I'm so appreciative of Jane for submitting that one.
Yeah. I thought it was cool to read Suzanne Cassidy's name because that is the doctor who diagnosed Freya.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
But
such a
she was
special connection.
yeah, she was at UCSF at the time, and then she has since retired, but
Okay.
yeah. She's the one who well, the Freya's pediatrician gave me the diagnosis, and then the next day, Dr. Cassidy called me, and she
Mm.
said, "Keep her stimulated." That was her
Oh,
thing.
wow.
She was like, "Number 1 rule." She was like, "It's easy to let these babies just, like, hang out and do their things, they're quiet," and she's like, "Don't do that." So
Mm.
then it became kind of our joke around the house of like, "Who's stimulating the baby?" Whereas before it was like, our first child, we had like little Waldorf rag dolls and like wooden rattles and things. But for Freya, I remember we got like a seat with lights and everything was like brightly colored and plastic and we carried her everywhere. We were always like, if somebody went like 5 minutes without talking to her, we were like, "Oh, hey, Freya." But yeah, that was on Dr. Cassidy's advice.
That's great advice. I'm sure a lot of our families can relate to having some kind of interaction with her as well, which is, again, it just makes the story even more special to be able to make that connection and think
Mhm.
back to what you experienced yourself. So
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
sweet.
amazing. So before I move on, I want to make sure to share that we are accepting everyone else's memories as well in honor of PWSA USA's 50th anniversary. So we will have the link in the show notes to share your own memory. And we appreciate it so much if you do so.
Yeah, please do, because we love reading them.
Yes. Selfishly, because of reading them, but also to spotlight the history of PWS and PWSA. So
Yeah.
many, many good reasons to do so.
Yeah, they're really special.
And then our spotlight on hope for the week was submitted by one of our favorite people, Sarah
Yes.
Cassidy, talking about her amazing son. So here's what Sarah had to share. Last week, Khaled and I had the incredible opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. to advocate alongside other families during Rare Disease Week. Khaled is my greatest motivation and inspiration. And this year was extra special because at 5 years old, he was able to participate actively. He met with representatives, took photos, and most importantly, we shared his story. When policymakers see him and hear about his journey, the challenges of rare disease become more than just statistics. They become personal and urgent. Beyond advocacy, this trip gave us the chance to connect with an amazing community. Khaled met new friends who are also battling Prader-Willi syndrome and others facing different rare conditions. Seeing these incredible kids together, sharing smiles and strengths, was a reminder that while each journey is unique, we are never alone in this fight. It was an unforgettable experience, and we are so grateful to be part of this movement. Thank you to everyone working tirelessly for change. Together, we make a difference. That was so beautifully said.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm glad it was a great week, and I'm glad Khaled was able to go to the meetings and run around in his adorable ways.
Yeah, some cute pictures here too.
And then again, if you have a spotlight on hope that you'd like to share, we'll have a link in the show notes. And it can be anything from something that they recently did that they found to be a success or you did, or simply just spotlighting them as your loved one. We want to see all of it.
So we're going to move on to events and fundraisers. And the first event is coming up quick. It's actually it's the day this podcast comes out. So sorry for the late notice. This is another good reason why you should subscribe to the podcast and listen when it comes out. But this is an exciting webinar opportunity to learn about Harmony Biosciences Tempo Phase 3 clinical trial. This webinar is on Tuesday, March 11th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. So this is your chance to learn about the Tempo Phase 3 clinical trial of pitolisant, a potential treatment for excessive daytime sleepiness and behavioral disturbances in PWS. It's also a chance to find out where trial sites are located. All sites are now open and actively enrolling participants, and you can ask your questions directly to the Harmony Biosciences team. So with the help of our community, this groundbreaking treatment could move one step closer to FDA approval, bringing hope and new options to those who need it most. So don't miss this opportunity to be part of the future of PWS treatment. And of course, you can find the link to that in the show notes. But if you've been listening to this podcast and if you've heard me talk about the clinical trial that Freya is doing, this is the clinical trial. We are in the pitolisant trial and she's in the open label. So she's been taking pitolisant since, I don't know, beginning of December, I think is when we went into the open label. And at a recent meeting with her at Freya's IEP a couple of weeks ago, the teacher said the other day that they were working on something and Freya said, I don't know why my brain's working so good. Which I thought was so cute. I was like, maybe it's pitolisant. I don't know.
Mhm.
But she actually, yesterday, she slept. She had a nap for like an hour and a half, which I realized when she went down for that nap, I realized that it's been several weeks
Mm.
since she's had one. Whereas like that was happening like a couple times a week at least.
Mm.
I was like,
Wow.
oh, wow. Like she really needed a nap.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I don't know
Mhm.
if there's a correlation, but it seems to be.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
'Cause
so
she's on the open label and
yeah, she's been
at this
taking it.
point, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a few months now. So yeah, I'm excited that she's in that. And I think it would be a cool opportunity for other families to learn more about it. So like,
Yes.
check that out. Now, an event that you have a lot more time to plan for.
Yes.
Tickets and sponsorship are now available for our 50th anniversary Journey of Hope Gala. And that is Friday, September 26th of this year. And that will be held at the Ritz-Carlton in St. Louis, Missouri from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. This special evening will honor the incredible progress we've made together while celebrating the people who have shaped our journey over the past 5 decades. That's crazy. PWSA is 5 decades old, which is
Mhm.
really incredible for an organization like this. If you want to attend this event, if you want to learn more about it, you'll find the link in the show notes. And just to note that you have to RSVP by September 1st. So you have some time, but definitely check it out and get on that. Another event to advertise is the listening sessions, the Equity and Prader-Willi Syndrome, a series of listening sessions. This is put on by the BIPOC Prader-Willi Syndrome Affinity Group, and this is for Black, Indigenous, and/or people of color who have been impacted by Prader-Willi Syndrome and would like to create a more equitable PWS community. So they want to learn about your challenges, your successes, and your needs to shape their efforts. So there are 4 sessions in March. One of them has already passed, March 4th, but there is another one, March 13th, that focuses on ages 0 to 12, and that is Thursday, March 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then March 20th and March 25th are both focused on ages 13 plus. March 30th is 12 p.m. Eastern, March 25th is 7 p.m. Eastern. So you have a variety of times to check in with that. and there will be a link to register for these sessions. So if that's something you're interested in, and if you have questions, you could email the BIPOCPWS@gmail.com. That's the BIPOC Affinity Group's email. And just a thank you to Acadia Pharmaceuticals and Soleno Therapeutics for sponsoring these sessions. We also have coming up quick is the 11th annual Clint Hurdle Hot Stove Dinner, and that is happening on March 22nd at the Bradenton Country Club in Bradenton, Florida, put on by Clint and Carla Hurdle to support PWSA USA's family programs and services. This will be an unforgettable evening featuring dinner, live entertainment, raffle prizes, and the always anticipated coconut golf ball drop. And if you can't make it in person, you can still attend virtually. So even if you can't join the event, you can still take part in the excitement. Bidding is now open on an amazing selection of auction items. Some highlights include Apple AirPods Pro 2, Jimmy Choo designer sunglasses, a Henry Golden Boy rifle, a Mario Lemieux signed helmet, and even a book autographed by none other than Taylor Swift. So we'll have link to this event. You can learn more about the event, and you can purchase your tickets for online or for in person, and you can bid on auction items. I'm definitely going to get a golf ball for the coconut drop. I'm excited for that.
Yes, it's such a fun thing that they do. And again, I think it's pretty iconic at this point since the event is over a decade old that people just like really, really look forward to it. So I'm excited that we can participate virtually as well.
Yeah.
I do really quick want to say I'm looking at the bidding website, the auction website, and there are more items. And there's some amazing new items, like a 3 nights in Venice and gondola ride,
What?
and a 3 night stay in Cabo, Mexico.
Cabo San Lucas.
Yeah, Cabo San Lucas. There's a Paris. Oh my gosh, for
Oh,
a 5 night stay. So they're continuing to add more to the auction website.
so keep checking
So
back.
keep checking back. And as we see some of this new stuff come up, we'll continue to promote it in future newsletters as well. But the event is at the end of this month. So there's definitely, we're running out of some time. So get
March
your bids in.
22nd. I would say it's not even
Yeah,
the end of the month. It's like less than 2 weeks.
right. Exactly.
Get
So
those
get
bids
your
in.
bids in, people.
Okay. Another exciting fundraiser coming up, a Hope United fundraiser, is Zara's Night of Lights. And this is Saturday, April 5th at 6 p.m. at the Historical Hall in Bedford, New York. And you can join Zara's family. Pia Dorson is her mother, and she is one of our Hope United fundraising coaches, and she's putting on this incredible event. This community event brings us together to support children like Zara living with PWS. You can enjoy an evening filled with entertainment, food and drinks, a silent auction, and more. So there will be a link in the show notes. You can visit that to see the ticket price options, which include a variety of sponsorship opportunities. And every dollar raised will go directly to the PWSA USA to fund advocacy, family support, and vital research to find a treatment for PWS. If you would like to host your own Hope United fundraiser, there will be a link to that in the show notes. And we have an incredible team. We have incredible coaches that can help walk you through and make it really simple and fun. And I am in the process of planning a fundraiser for May, which maybe we can talk about a different time because it's under a different name.
It's still technically part of Hope United. And
Okay.
if anyone wants to learn more about Hope United, our most recent podcast before this one gives so many details about that initiative, about different events and campaigns you can do within Hope United, and talks to some families who have hosted events in the past and their experiences and how it's not scary
Right.
ultimately. But
Yeah.
yeah, Annie is going to be hosting one of our United We Brunch events, which is going to take place in May. And again, I encourage everyone to go listen to the last podcast. So we don't need to sit and talk about this for, I won't sit and talk about this for another 20 minutes because we have a whole episode on it. But if you
Well,
have time, please go listen.
yeah, it was inspiring to listen to the episode. And I was like, yeah, okay. And so I was getting some good ideas for my United We Brunch, or as I'm calling it, I don't know yet.
Annie's title is pending.
It's a poet's brunch,
I
maybe.
love that. That's so fitting for you. That's perfect. I can't wait. And I think really quick side note before we move on is that's the beauty of United We Brunch is that you can make it your own. You can
Yeah.
have it be your own theme, your own name. It's kind of just the umbrella term for the campaign, but it's really something that we want our community to take and run with. So we will have on our website this week, though, a lot of details, a toolkit about United We Brunch, a website, how to set up your pages, various things like that. So please go visit our website as well on Friday and check out more information if you're interested. Okay, now I digress and we can get into advocacy. So, we start advocacy by talking about Rare Disease Week, a little recap from that great event. So, our advocates had a very busy and impactful week for Rare Disease Week in Washington, D.C., and elsewhere, from gathering together to build connections and raise awareness, taking a deep dive into legislative policy, and advocating for critical issues like the reauthorization of the Rare Pediatric Disease Priority Review Voucher, or PRV program. Our advocates represented the PWS community alongside several other rare disease communities. PWSA USA's Director of Community Engagement, Dorothea Lance, also attended the official opening of the FSU Institute for Pediatric Rare Diseases, a groundbreaking new center dedicated to advancing research and treatment for pediatric rare diseases. You can read more about the exciting advocacy events that have recently happened and how you can participate in advocacy from your home by visiting the link in our show notes. And just one more big thank you to all of the advocates who went to DC and who really spoke, on behalf of our community and were that voice for us during Rare Disease Week. We sincerely appreciate all that you do. Our next advocacy section is Breaking Barriers. Texas moves to eliminate IQ requirement for PWS Medicaid waivers. So we're thrilled to announce a major milestone in our advocacy efforts in Texas. So Texas State Representative Elizabeth Campos has officially filed House Bill 3891, groundbreaking legislation that will remove the IQ requirement as a barrier to Medicaid waiver eligibility for individuals living with PWS. Additionally, Senator Judith Zaffirini, PhD, the esteemed dean of the Texas Senate, will be filing the companion bill in the Senate, marking another key step forward for our community. For far too long, the outdated IQ based eligibility criteria have prevented individuals with PWS from accessing the critical services and supports they need to thrive. House Bill 3891 ensures that a PWS diagnosis alone will be sufficient for qualification under a Section 1915C Medicaid waiver program, eliminating unnecessary obstacles for families seeking essential care. This achievement would not have been possible without the tireless dedications of our incredible PWSA advocates. Your voices, your persistence, and your unwavering commitment to the PWS community have made this legislative progress a reality. Together, we are breaking down barriers and creating a more inclusive future for Texans living with PWS. Now we turn our focus to the next step, rallying support for House Bill 3891 and its Senate companion bill. Stay tuned for updates on hearings, calls to action, and ways you can help ensure the passage of this crucial legislation. Thank you again to all who have championed this cause. We are making history together. Something similar also happened last week in Illinois, and there is a call to action that goes along with it. Illinois families, this one's for you. Your voice is needed. The Illinois House of Representatives Human Services Committee is holding a hearing on their House Bill 2541 on Wednesday, March 12th, 2025 at 8 a.m. Central. And we need as many witness slips submitted as possible to show support for this important bill. A witness slip is a simple online form that lets lawmakers know that you support House Bill 2541. It's a quick and powerful way to advocate for our families and loved ones. Those living in Illinois are encouraged to visit the link in our show notes to fill out and submit their own witness slip. House Bill 2541, filed by State Rep. Nicole Laha, would officially recognize Prader-Willi syndrome as a developmental disability in Illinois law and add PWS to the state's list of developmental disabilities. This would help ensure that individuals living with PWS qualify for essential services regardless of IQ, just like what's going on in Texas as well. So, again, we encourage you to take action today. You can fill out your witness slip, again, at the link in our show notes. Encourage other Illinois residents to do the same. And if you're able to, you can also attend the hearing in person, again, taking place March 12th, 8 a.m. Central, in room C1 at the Stratton Building in Springfield, Illinois. Your support can make a real difference in securing the services and recognition our community needs. So let's make our voices heard in Illinois. And keeping with the Illinois theme, we've got one more announcement to make for the advocacy efforts happening there. Representative Laha also filed a House resolution declaring the month of May 2025 PWS Awareness Month in Illinois. She is doing so much for our community. We're so grateful for Representative Laha for all of her efforts. Just as a little side note there, Representative Coffey Jr. co-sponsored this resolution that states, we declare May 2025 as Prader-Willi Syndrome Awareness Month in the state of Illinois. And be it further resolved that we express our support for raising awareness and educating the public about Prader-Willi syndrome and increasing research and funding into the causes and treatments of the disease. And we encourage you to read the full document at the link in our show notes.
On to family support. This one is the next in our PWS and adulthood blog series. And this is about Julia, who is a 55-year-old woman living with PWS in Queensland, Australia. She lives with another woman and receives full-time support. She enjoys volunteering at a local puppy rescue. And I just want to say, side note, who wouldn't? Because
Oh,
that
I
sounds
love
amazing.
that. I know, same.
And she enjoys going out for bingo and country music nights. While she does have a lot of support in place, she values having her own home and knowing that her family is not far away. So you can read more about Julia and her life as an adult with PWS, along with her twin sister's advice for how to prepare a loved one with PWS for adulthood by using the link in the show notes. So yeah, I just want to say this was submitted by Julia's twin sister. It made me think of Lynn's survey about twins, which was promoted in the last Pulse and on social. And if you have twins, if you're a twin, or if your loved one with PWS is one of two twins and you didn't get a chance to fill out that survey, you can go back to the volume 117 Pulse, or you can reach out to communications and I'll get that to you. So a link to this blog will be in the show notes, and you will also find there a link to submit your own PWS and adulthood blog. And we're just really enjoying these, and I think they're just really great for the community to hear about them. And we actually got an email from somebody who had read one of them, and they have an adult with PWS, and they wanted to reach out to the family and they wanted to make a connection. And so I think that happened, kind of behind the scenes, but it was really sweet. I was really happy to see that.
That's amazing that that's also opening up those community connections. I
Yes.
love to see that. And around the world, since
Yeah.
we got one from Australia. I love
Australia.
that.
Yeah, they're far away.
Yeah.
All right. And our next is Ask Nurse Lynn. So the Ask Nurse Lynn for the week is interventions for rectal picking. And this was submitted by the caregiver of a 20-year-old male with UPD. And their question, they said, our son, 20 years old, UPD, since his childhood presented one of the characteristics of the syndrome, skin picking. We have treated him with multiple creams and therapeutic aids, but now he's started with the anal skin picking, and it is very difficult for us to handle these situations and, above all, to try to avoid them. Do you have any suggestions or advice? Thank you very much. Now, Lynn put so much into her response. So, I mean, there's a lot. It's a lot of great information for families, and it doesn't have to be for rectal picking, like any kind of skin picking. Like she put a lot of
Yeah.
interventions in there for any kind of different tactile things they can do, different ways to distract. Just there's a lot of information. So definitely check that out if skin picking is an issue with your loved one. And of course, you can also submit your own non-urgent medical question to Ask Nurse Lynn. There will be a link in the show notes. or in the blog if you go check that out. And the last entry for family support is the book I Am Full Stories for Jacob, which has been mentioned before, but it's worth mentioning again. Of course, this is a book for the PWS community, but there is now a free book club guide. So you can have a book club with your community or with your PWS community, or maybe just your friends or family. And there's a book club guide that goes with it. So I Am Full Stories for Jacob is a book by Dan Yashinsky. And Canadian publisher Signature Editions is happy to let members of the PWSA community know that this book is now available on Amazon. It is a thoughtful, poignant, and funny reflection on his son Jacob's life. It is also a grief memoir written as a way to celebrate Jacob's extraordinary courage, wit, and wisdom as someone living with PWS. So Jacob died in 2018 at the age of 26, and his father Dan decided to become his story keeper. So Dan began to write down Jacob's sayings and doings in his imagined voice. He also gathered many of Jacob's own writings, poems, love letters, apology letters, no surprise for PWS parents. That was his note in there. And I thought
Mhm.
that was cute. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've gotten a letter or two like that.
Oh.
And an inspiring advocacy speech Jacob gave at a PWS fundraiser just 2 months before his death. The speech can also be seen on YouTube by Googling I am Jacob Zavitz. That's Zavitz. So, with the book now available in the US, Dan is hoping to lead book clubs for groups of parents, caregivers, and all members of the PWS community. After a discussion with the Arizona PWS Association, Chrissy McCann wrote, "The book talk based on I Am Full Stories for Jacob was a wonderful experience. It was heartwarming to discuss with others in the PWS community and hear the ways we could all relate to different aspects of Jacob's story. The author read some favorite passages, which added even more depth to a book that felt so personal for us all. One participant commented how the book would stay with her, and I couldn't agree more. Since reading it, I am constantly revisiting the imagery and magic of a unique life so beautifully depicted. I plan on revisiting it many times in my own journey with PWS." So I'll put Dan's email in the show notes, and you can reach out to him to get a copy of the book club discussion guide or just to talk about your own experiences in the world of PWS. And we will also have a link to I Am Full Stories for Jacob on Amazon if you're interested in getting that book.
Yeah, thank you so much to Dan for continuing to keep up with this book. I love that he's included this guide for people to have discussions around it because grief is such a difficult topic. And I think that probably helps, you know, ask some poignant questions, figure out how to navigate it, especially as a PWS parent, I'm sure. And yeah, that was just really thoughtful of him to do that and make that available for families. So I hope some people have some book discussions on it. That sounds like a
I
great
love
thing
that
to do.
idea.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our research section now. We have a new trend report to share on gastrointestinal issues in the PWS community. So, the Trend community released its latest report again on gastrointestinal issues. This report expresses some of the most common topics involving GI issues, including constipation and bowel movements, vomiting, spitting up, or gagging, prune juice and other foods, reflux, and community support. This report looked at the conversations to determine different emotions in relation to GI discussions, with fear being the most common emotion in the presence of a GI tract finding. Constipation concerns affected caregivers across the age groups. Caregivers asked a lot of questions regarding management of constipation, showing a prevalent concern and need for information regarding the topic. So, to read the full report and to learn more about Trend Community, you can visit the link in our show notes. And what an important topic that was to cover, Annie. I think a lot of families can relate on this one to that fear feeling.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And just how prevalent it is. I mean, Freya was late to school this morning because she had a bellyache. And so we were trying to deal with that. So, yeah,
sure.
GI issues are a big part of PWS life.
Yeah. Our next section talks about the Global PWS Registry and a new project that is seeking to identify characteristics that predict challenging behaviors in PWS. So, a new study by Dr. David Evans at Bucknell University aims to identify early risk factors for certain behavioral challenges in PWS. The project will examine how behaviors may change over time within each individual and across age and genetic subtypes. Parents are asked to complete surveys 3 times over a year, and information from this study will help identify the earliest signs of challenging behaviors in PWS so they can be addressed as soon as possible and support parents and clinicians in developing earlier and more individualized interventions. The project is seeking caregivers of people with PWS ages 2 and up to complete the 6 surveys today, and then again in 6 months, and then 12 months for a total of 3 times. Responses will help identify the earliest signs of challenging behaviors with the goal of identifying those at highest risk who might benefit most from individualized interventions and management. And you can learn more about the study and how you can participate at the link in our show notes. And then finally, we want to share that Harmony Biosciences has announced 2 additional clinical trial sites that are open. And it sounds like these are the last 2 that will be, since all trial sites are now open, they have let us know. So they announced that the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Anne and Robert H. Laurie Children's Hospital of Chicago in Chicago, Illinois, are now 2 additional trial sites that people can go to and be part of the TEMPO clinical study. And the TEMPO study, again, is a global phase 3 trial investigating pitolisant as a potential treatment for excessive daytime sleepiness in individuals age 6 years and older with PWS. And we will have a link in the show notes to where all of their trial sites are located. And again, if you want to learn more and are listening to this podcast episode on Tuesday, the 11th, we encourage you to sign up and attend our Harmony Biosciences webinar, and they will discuss more things around pitolisant and TEMPO.
All right. And we have one announcement, and this is the call for nominations to the PWSA USA Board of Directors. And the board is looking for bright, motivated people who think clearly and creatively, work well with others, are sensitive to different points of view, and who are dedicated to improving the lives of individuals with PWS and their families. The following areas have been identified as priorities for additional bench strength. So human resources in general, philanthropy, fund development, research expertise, medical expertise, legal expertise, and financial expertise. Do you have any of these specialized skills or know someone who does, like communications and media, website, research, or financial expertise? Those also help. Or do you simply have passion, dedication, and follow through to bring to a committee? To learn more about committee work or to learn how your specialized skill set can help families and professionals, you can contact Stacy Ward, CEO, at sward@pwsausa.org. And if you want to nominate yourself or someone else for the board of directors, you can contact Lisa Graziano, Leadership Development Committee Chair, at LisaGrazianoLMF T at gmail.com. Both of those contacts will be in the show notes. And finally, for our resource spotlight, we now have a new web page. This is called Community Publications. And this page hosts a variety of creations from and for the PWS community. So here you will find links to children's books, informative memoirs and manuals, articles, YouTube videos, and podcasts created by caregivers in the PWS community. These publications can help educate you and your community about the intricacies of PWS, can offer guidance on the ways to discuss PWS with your family, friends, and loved ones, and can help create a stronger sense of belonging and bond within this community. So please visit the page using the link in the show notes. And if you or someone you know has released a publication that you think belongs on this page, you can email communications@pwsausa.org. And that's it for this week, Volume 118 of PWSA USA's Pulse.
Thank you for listening to this episode of PWS United. If you want to learn more about Prader-Willi syndrome and how PWSA USA is making strides in advocacy, family support, and research, visit www.pwsausa.org. And while you're there, we encourage you to sign up for our Pulse email newsletter to stay informed about the latest news, resources, and events. Don't forget to subscribe to the PWS United podcast so you never miss an episode. Our team is always available to support families and their loved ones living with PWS 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You can call us at 941-312-0400 or email info@pwsausa.org. Catch a new episode next Tuesday, and until then, have a great week.